to New Rockstars. I'm Jessica Clemens, and this is a breakdown of Season 5, Episode 7 of The Boys, titled The Frenchman, The Female, and The Man Called Mother's Milk. And yep, it's another heartbreaking episode. Another episode that's got me looking like this. Honestly, let's just get into this bad boy because I'm tired, and Kripke's telling us to be hopeful going into the final episode, and what is there to be hopeful about anymore? Let's just go spot these missed details. Also, first, of course, be sure to check out the latest and greatest in New Rockstars merch. Get the Boys merch. It's the best way to support the channel. I'm just having a hard time because this episode actually made me really sad. The episode begins within the church. A jazz band plays while the gospel choir sings and the angel go-go dancers, dance. And these angels feel like Victoria's Secret angels, but, whatever. Oh Father comes out and starts spewing outrageous things, basically mocking Jesus for saying turning water to wine is useless. It's our newest propaganda to further Homelander into replacing Jesus. The fact that they got Daveed Diggs, Thomas Jefferson from Hamilton, rapper Daveed Diggs, to do a musical number sounds like a given, but he actually doesn't normally do things like this anymore. According to a recent interview with IGN, he actually worked on the song with the Boys composer Christopher Leonard, and they were aiming for something closer to an R&B duo, Sam and Dave, and the legendary James Brown, while Leonard also pitched Otis Redding. Yet they ended up with something very Oh Father. My biggest question for all of this is the anticipation for Bought on Ice a while back. Hasn't the public, been pulled in just too many directions now? Because now we have Jesus is Homelander, but Jesus was once skating with Homelander. They were both brothers, but they were both friends. I just think there's just too much going on. It's all getting too ridiculous now, and this won't be the first time I bring up Bought on Ice in this episode. Then it's revealed that this was all just a rehearsal, and Oh Father is almost a bigger diva than Homelander is. We switch over to the scene I mentioned last breakdown we hadn't seen yet, and that's Homelander chilling in the White House. This scene is inspired from the comics where Homelander decapitates the president, but something similar happens here, just not specifically decapitated. Squash-decated? Squash-decated. Homelander makes himself at home at the president's desk. He's now demanding his church to be the official national religion. He's dissolving the separation of church and state, sending troops into cities that are protecting starlighters, banning abortions, but also outlawing nut milk because every pregnant woman better be breastfeeding because those nuts aren't milk. He then expects them to disband Congress entirely. And these are, again, all more extreme versions of stuff Trump is currently trying to do. He's been destroying the separation of church and state by inserting Christian ideals into every aspect of government. And in 2025, at a prayer event at the White House, he said, "They say separation between church and state." I said, all right, let's forget about that for one time. It's our president. He also actively has threatened to send the National Guards into sanctuary cities, and yes, he even got involved in the milk debate, forcing the USDA to return whole and 2% milk to schools, and the USDA followed that up by tweeting this absolutely insane image of Trump with a milk mustache. So yeah, he's not at the Homelander level yet, but he's getting there, don't worry. When Homelander forces Ashley to read Steven's mind after exposing Bashley, whom Steven has never seen before, Ashley lies and says that he's terrified of Homelander, and you don't really need to read someone's mind to get that idea, to be honest. So Homelander kills him, then wipes his blood on the Oval Office pillows. Now with Annie and Mother's Milk and his Biz Markie shirt that commemorates Biz Markie Day in New York City, August 31st, 2023, to honor the rapper, they're meeting up with Jordan and Marie from Gen V. As we're all aware, Gen V was not renewed for a third season. I don't know where we'll see these kids next. Also, Marie and Jordan might still be broken up here. We don't know yet. Mother's Milk calls Marie the chosen one or whatever, which if you remember from Gen V season 2 was always what people referred to her as after they learned that she and Homelander were the only two successful soups to come out of Project Odessa.
Chosen ones are like Harry Potter, Neo, fucking Frodo. Exactly.
We learn they've had Emma tracking Oh Father, and I assume she's shrinking and investigating. The last that we heard from the Gen V kids was back in episode 1 of this season, where Annie told A-Train they busted a raid in Pittsburgh, but it still wasn't enough. While they still want to keep fighting, Annie tells them to stop while they still can, because it's not even endgame anymore. They kinda, in a nicer way, have already lost. Marie and Jordan push back because not only did they sacrifice a lot, but Annie recruited them. Annie claps back at Marie, saying, "What good's all that power, Marie, if you can't control it?" And this feels like one of those moments in the movies where the kid is shooing away the dog because they can't keep them or something's happening. Like, it's just Annie doesn't want to be mean to these kids, but clearly they're not listening. But also, to all of this I say, Annie, maybe you try having my powers for a day, because I would sure love to burst light bulbs by accident instead of people's heads. Let's be real right now. But this also kind of negates all the trial and error training and classes that Godolkin put Marie through during season 2 of Gen V. Even after more than a year, she still hasn't fully learned how to control her powers, which is really, really dangerous when you're a natural bloodbender. Marie then quotes a piece of Annie's audition tape that she did for the Seven, which is word for word true. After squashing Marie's hopes and dreams, Annie and Mother's Milk leave while Billy Joel's Goodnight Saigon plays. Back at the elementary school, Huey in his traveling Wilburys shirt. This is the supergroup with Bob Dylan, Tom Petty, Roy Orbison, Jeff Lynn and George Harrison are in, he wakes up to Kimiko screaming. As Huey runs through the kitchen, the door separating him from the madness has a million of news articles. This one says Queens woman killed in high-speed pursuit. This was the one about Robin. We saw this in MM's private room. Vought pushed the narrative that A-Train was in pursuit of some bank robbers when she stepped into the middle of the street, but you all know the real story to that. This one says President Calhoun gives way to Homelander's martial law plan, which came into effect at the finale of season 4. President Calhoun ducks questions about immigration. Of course he does. He's a bitch. At the top, it says trial of public opinion, and this is the trial with Homelander back in season 4. We learn what Butcher has been making since episode 4, and it's his own uranium cell, aka Plan B. By recreating the radiated experiments that gave Soldier Boy his chest blast, they're hoping they can duplicate it in Kimiko. Clearly and rightfully, everyone is not only horrified by this idea, but confused by the recklessness of this experiment, but it's her decision. Annie passes along Emma's notes that are helpful, but barely, so the plan now is to just ambush Vought Studios, capture O-Father, and get the up jump on Homelander, which already sounds pretty ridiculous in my opinion. Then Butcher gives his speech.
Posh Spice, she never gave up. And we ain't giving up either.
This isn't the first time that he's given a Spice Girls pep talk before. He did this a while ago in season 1. He mentions how Posh wasn't even featured on Wannabe, which was due to her attending a wedding according to her autobiography, Learning to Fly. But also, I think she is in the original song. It's just the lower vocals and then like the back. He follows that she's got 15 engagement rings, 32 Vogue covers, inducted by Prince William, which to confirm, yes to the engagement rings, and technically yes, collectively, internationally, there's 32 Vogue covers. Some issues are dual covers, or she's credited as Posh, a member of Spice Girls instead of Victoria Beckham, of course. And yes, Prince Williams did the thing. And the line about her being a staple at Paris Fashion Week, yes, that is also true. Regardless, Butcher is just using Posh Spice as a recognizable force of nature who has never given up no matter the odds. Then we're back at the 7th Tower and the Deep is confessing about killing Black Noir, where Homelander doesn't really care about that, and he tells him how he's abolishing the 7, which means the Deep is out of here, baby! Throw that trash out. I don't care. He begs not to let him go, saying he's done everything for him. He's chosen him over everything, and I hate the Deep. Like, don't get me wrong, he is a horrible person, but he's also not wrong here, you know, because he ate Timmy because of Homelander. He killed people within Vought for Homelander. He killed the Home Teamers for Homelander and Sage, killed the man running for vice president, Lamar Bishop, for Homelander, and endorsed the oil pipeline, killing a bunch of the fish friends he had in the process. He also used a whale to try to stop the boys and got the whale killed. I will say that's not fully Homelander's fault, but you get the point. Homelander allows the Deep to leave without killing him, unlike Firecracker, so honestly, take the bonus, my man. We then cut to the Vought Studios lot where a mural featuring the Deep, Homelander, Crimson Countess, A-Train, and at the end, Black Noir alongside Air Kripke is being spray painted over. Done by Candice Craig, there's so much detail to this mural that I hate that it's getting painted over right now. The original piece is being replaced with Homelander's patriotic face, which is the same for this poster, and I don't think we've seen it yet, but it's celebrating his ascension that will be televised. Huey, Annie, and Mother's Milk are completely dressed undercover, unlike Butcher, completely in his normal everyday trench coat kind of clothes. They split up to find O-Father when we're immediately taken to a new shoot. Eagle the Archer is back and played by Langston Kerman. We saw him a lot during season 2 when he was part of the Church of the Collective with the Deep. Big City Starlight is played by Samantha Helt, and in this story titled American Eagle, I guess it's allegedly on its 3rd season and is Vought Plus's number 4 show, so that's atrocious. Based on the cover art for this series, it feels like they're poking fun at Yellowstone. Could be wrong, but I highly doubt it. At one point, this Starlight says to imagine the land as millions of acres of strip malls, subdivisions, and a chain of Hamburger Marys, which, yes, please, the Hamburger Marys part. This is our fun bar out here in WeHo where you can do drag bingo and drag brunch, and there's so much shows and so much loudness. I love it. The Archer calls Starlight a Manhattan elite, and Annie is from Iowa, and this is playing at the idea that Trump followers refer to people that they don't like as elites from places like New York, despite the fact that Trump himself was born and raised in New York, and his main business hub is in Manhattan. Also, the Worm is directing this, and get this man off this goddamn set. Also, I bet he's just eating dirt the entire time, shooting it out his butt. There's no butt in this episode, no hole, which is great to know. It's revealed the shows are being canceled since Homelander is rebooting the universe, and they've taken every series into a different direction that continues to further his insane narrative. Archer insults the hack writing, and Worm says the Taylor Sheridan AI wrote the thing and it does not take notes. And Taylor Sheridan both notoriously doesn't have a writer's room, refuses to take notes, and refuses to work with other writers. And his shows mainly do appeal to red state folks, like Archer is saying in this episode, so do with that that what you will. They've also yelled cut to bring in the guy that'll help with the VFX. This man who brings in the ball and chart is wearing a Not Without My Dolphin sweatshirt for the VFX department, and this was the deep stupid movie. Now back with Sad Sage, our girl's Maeve journal is just useless now. I'm always harping on that journal because I wanted to believe there's more to Sage's plan, but according to Kripke, she's by and large given up, and I don't think she's working on a new plan. She had a plan and it kind of blew up in her face. Now she really is just binging Love Island and licking her wounds, which I'm fine with. I just had to clarify and clear it up for myself. She's eating Almond Joys, Soup Brand Candy, Chips Ahoy, and of course there's Turbo Rush and a new treat, Homelanders. She's also got a Starlight vibrator just lying out. Put that in a drawer under your pillow, girl. Have some fucking decency. As we remember, she's chillaxing after a good old lobotomy, basically waiting for her next high when Frenchie comes in for a second opinion on the formula he's developing to replicate Soldier Boy's powers into Kimiko. While both of them acknowledge how nearly impossible the plan is, Sage could probably help her find it if she chose to. However, everything shifts when Frenchie mentions just how much he loves Kimiko, which clearly triggers Sage emotionally. We already knew her breakup with Godokin would carry into this season, but this is the first time she openly acknowledged how heartbroken she is. She reflects on how she's underestimated situations because love blinded her, making both her and others unpredictable, therefore making her useless. She argues that love creates dangerous blind spots that lead to miscalculations, but Frenchie pushes back, insisting she needs to find a way to help them through helping herself first. Instead, she chooses to lobotomize herself again. Now back with the church running more rehearsals, Huey and Butcher have this little conversation.
You gotta hand it to Homelander. Who else would announce they're the second coming with a song and dance number?
Fucking Hitler on the outside, Fosse on the inside.
We all know who Hitler is, but Bob Fosse is a remarkable choreographer that created this dance, the aloof from Sweet Charity to Quincy Jones's Soul Bossa Nova. He's done a lot of choreography to a lot of things. It's just Sweet Charity is like my North Star, so I'm gonna credit this one first. That's when Butcher immediately clocks Synapse, played by Stephen Yaffe. Synapse is new to the show, but his name comes from the synaptic gap. This is the space where ions are exchanged from one neuron to another, which transfers electrical charge from neuron to neuron. It's like a communication between your brain cells. To distract Huey so he doesn't hear their brain waves or brains from afar, Butcher urges Huey to spew his top 10 Billy Joel songs, to which he says is hard at first, then immediately shouts out Scenes from an Italian Restaurant from The Stranger, which yeah, is like 3 songs in one. The song's like over 7 minutes long. Then Entertainer from Street Life Serenade and the Allentown from Nylon Curtain. Huey immediately clocks Synapse for his past crimes, the interstate murders, and now's a good time to remind everyone that Huey also worked for the Federal Bureau of Superhuman Affairs with Victoria Newman that tracked everything related to soup incidents, casualties, you name it. So he knows of Synapse's past crimes. Synapse in his stupid t-shirt immediately clocks Huey and Butcher and catches them, and I hate this t-shirt so much. Why did they put him in this t-shirt? It's so stupid. Then we're with the Deep, who's drinking his sorrows away at the end of a dock. They've been drinking this beer for the past few episodes after A-Train's death. They drank it at the poker table. It's his rest in speed drink, which doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't feel right. It's not as bad as the menthol cigarettes, but I still don't like it. It's crazy seeing the Deep eat sushi this season and just littering in the ocean because, I mean, this man was an environmentalist at one point. Even though he did nothing good for the environment, he killed more animals than he did protect them, but you know, it feels just kind of crazy seeing him do this. Then lo and behold, Xander returns. We saw him back in episode 1 of this season. He's voiced by Samuel L. Jackson, which is funny for 2 reasons. A, Tilda Swinton was the voice of the octopus, so are all the sea creatures in this universe just extremely famous actors? And B, Samuel L. Jackson is a shark, and there's a great movie called Deep Blue Sea where Samuel L. Jackson doesn't do well with sharks. We love movies and we love TV and we love them so much we made a whole life for ourselves just talking about them, and that's why we're so excited to introduce you to today's sponsor, Pretzel Rated. Pretzel Rated is the social platform for movies and TV. It's like Letterboxd, but with TV shows, episode ratings, and a social feed. Pretzel is the only app where you can rate individual episodes, not just entire TV shows, which is massive. Plus, Pretzel lets you see what your friends are watching, how they rated it, and what